Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if teachers praising you actually makes you feel less smart? Well, this new study might have a clue. Today we're diving into a fascinating study that tackles a common worry. You know how teachers often praise students to make them feel good and smart? Well, some people worry that when a teacher praises one student but not another student who did just as well, it might actually make the praised student feel like they aren't as smart as they thought. It is like the teacher is saying, wow, you did great, but maybe you needed that praise more than the other kid who is naturally talented. This sounds counterintuitive, right? Let's see what the science says. Researchers designed a really cool experiment using virtual reality, a VR classroom to be exact. They wanted to create a realistic setting to test this idea. They had kids aged 7 to 13 participate in these VR classrooms. Picture yourself sitting there doing a task with a virtual classmate and a virtual teacher watching. The main idea was simple. Two kids do equally well on a task. The teacher praises one of them or the classmate or both or neither. Then they see how the child feels. Do they feel less smart? Do they think the teacher believes they are less smart? Do they get physically stressed out like their heart races or they blush? So how did they do this? In these VR classrooms, kids would do puzzles. After the puzzles were done, the virtual teacher would tell them they both got the same score. This is important because it sets up the situation for unequal feedback. In study 1, there were two main groups. In one group, the child got praised by the teacher, but the virtual classmate didn't. In the other group, the virtual classmate got praised, but the child didn't. The teacher would say things like, "Well, you did such a great job, honestly. That is really impressive." After the VR part, kids were asked questions. They were asked to compare themselves to the other student. Things like, who is smarter, do you think, you or the other student? And how much smarter are you, do you think? They also asked about who worked harder. Now, for the results. And this is where it gets interesting. Contrary to what many might expect, the researchers found no evidence that receiving praise made children feel less smart or more hardworking. They also didn't find that children thought the teacher saw them as less smart. The praise didn't seem to lower their self-view, but they wanted to be even more sure, so they did study 2, improving their design. They added more groups. Now the teacher might praise the child, the classmate, both or neither. They also made the praise happen twice to make it more obvious. And they added something new. They measured physical signs of stress. In study 2, kids did a memory task twice. After each round, they got feedback. The conditions were set up so that either the child got praised, the classmate got praised, both got praised, or neither got praised. The key was that in the single praise conditions, the praised child performed equally to the non-praised classmate. They measured things like how good kids thought they were at the memory task and how they felt about themselves in that moment, their state self-esteem. They also asked how they thought the teacher viewed their ability, and for the physical stuff they measured heart rate variability, blushing, and skin conductance. These are all indicators of how our body reacts to stress or social evaluation. And what happened in study 2, again, contrary to the initial hypothesis, the results were pretty consistent. Children who were praised when their classmate wasn't did not feel less smart or have lower self-esteem. They also didn't show more signs of stress based on their physical responses. There was one interesting finding, though, in study 2. Children who were praised believed that their teacher liked them more than children in the other praise group. This wasn't about feeling less smart, but about feeling more liked. They also tended to think the teacher liked the classmate less when they themselves were praised. So what does this all mean? The researchers used 2 large experiments with careful designs and VR to really get to the bottom of this question. Across both studies, they found no evidence that teachers giving praise to one student but not another when they performed equally actually makes that praised child feel less smart. Amazing, right? Why might this be? Well, the paper suggests that children often think about people in terms of warmth and competence. When meeting a teacher, maybe feeling liked is more important than feeling super smart right away. The study, in fact, suggests children viewed praise as a sign of being liked by the teacher. So maybe the unintended negative effect on self-perceived intelligence just doesn't happen for most kids. It seems that while other kids might perceive a praised student as less smart based on observations, the praised student themselves doesn't necessarily internalize that. This is a really important distinction. The research also explored if certain kids might be more affected like those from different socioeconomic backgrounds or with fixed mindsets, but their exploratory analyses didn't find these moderating effects. Now, every study has its limits. This VR setup is great for controlled experiments, but it doesn't capture the long-term back and forth of real classroom interactions over months or years. Also, the study was done in the Netherlands, a country that values both ability and effort. It might be different in places that focus more on ability. So the big takeaway is that the common worry that praise makes kids feel less smart might not be as widespread as we thought. For most children, it seems praise is more likely interpreted as a sign of teacher liking, or at least doesn't negatively impact their own sense of intelligence. This is really good news for teachers who want to encourage their students. It suggests that positive feedback, even if not given to everyone equally, might not backfire in the way some feared. Of course, more research is always needed, especially on long-term effects and in different cultural contexts. But for now, it is reassuring to know that a simple great job might be doing more good than harm for most kids. What are your thoughts on this? Don't forget to let us know in the comments below. If you found this interesting, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Rubin's Mind Lab for more awesome science breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.